Welcome to ManifesTalk on Manifest TV. My name is Majeed. Today we'll be discussing National Social Investment Program, NSIP, of the Buhari administration. Whether you're a market woman, you are a student, or you are an unemployed graduate, one way or the other, this particular topic affects you, which is what is happening with Empower, what is happening with trader money, what is happening with conditional cash transfer. I do not know, but we have an expert today, Mr. Sunday Adaje. He will analyze, he will dissect, and he will give us a sense of balance as to what exactly is going on with the NSIP. Because, like you and I do not know, but he knows. Mr. Sunday, thank you for joining us on Manifest Track. So we'll just go right straight to the point because time is not, friendly with us. So, Buhari administration. The administration came on board and making a lot of promises. Since 2019, we've been trying as much as we can, to track some of his promises. So we'll start at the most important one, which is social welfare. Nigeria is the capital of poverty, as people say, based on the number of people or percentage of people who are living under the poverty line. So some of his social welfare are supposed to alleviate, the suffering, provide some cushion. So in your own view as an expert, where are we?
Okay, thank you for having me. We are not where we are supposed to be. If you look at the statistics for the National Bureau's statistics, it says otherwise. So it's not something that we'll need to argue about. We are not where we are supposed to be. But the social welfare program you talked about has made some measurable impact, or let me just say data that have been shown to the public. But on overall, the number of people that are below the poverty line has not gone down, and the unemployed people have not gone down. Inflation as well is still going up, skyrocketing. And if you look at it, the data from the National Bureau of Statistics, the highest inflation is on food. And if you look at the homegrown feeding program, it's also targeted at building the capacity of smallholders farmers that supply the food to the children and the rest. But that has not made any impact.
So if the problem is exactly in the concept of social welfare, because we've seen it, like you said, done in India and the rest, or is it the question of, local problem, maybe like poverty and like corruption and the rest? Because there are people who've argued several times and said, we cannot keep on, throwing 500 billion or thereabout to a particular matter every time. Why not just give some of these funds to, young people who can invest and employ people? So please, we're trying to get, is the problem, with the social welfare concept?
No. The concept is a fantastic concept. If you look at what India have done with theirs, like the conditional cash transfer and the grown feeding program, it works for them. And they have a bigger population compared to ours. But the execution and the monitoring, that's where we are having problem. That's the missing links.
So right now, because we are still focusing on problems, is the problem with the executive in terms of implementation and execution of the project, or the oversight by the National Assembly, or are we even within the civil society organization? Are we guilty of some just allowing the executives and the government in general to just do whatever they want with our money?
I think it's all encompassing because it also has to do with corruption as well, because the special advisor to the president, that's Miriam Ways, once said and quoted that there are a lot of manipulation, especially on the trader money, farmer money, and the rest, which has been hijacked by politicians in the state. She mentioned about states, Benue, Niger, Ogun, Oshun, I think about 12 states, which they've gathered the reports with the evidence. And the EFCC say no, that they should go back and the civil society should go back and investigate more. because the civil society cannot investigate and prosecute.
Okay, the evidence.
The evidence are
is
there.
done by the civil society.
Civil society and even the special advisor, Miriam Ways, said it and it was quoted. And he said prosecution has not been done. People have not been arrested, people have not been prosecuted regarding the manipulation and the corruption and even the threatening of the people that the money are given to.
That's a very, very serious allegation.
Yes.
Coming, and because we know there's the federal government, the main administration, are seeing a lot of infighting. So we try as much as possible not to dwell on it. So now, if we now focus and say, okay, what can we do better? What can we do better? Because we know corruption is like, I'm not going to admit and say it's part and parcel of us, because if I'm settling out a program, I must identify there are possibility of people wanting to, how do we put it? They're trying to bend the system. What can we do?
I think corruption, what we can do at the moment is this. If you look at the conventional cash transfer, the money is being given to people, cash. So it's very difficult to follow or to even follow up or to even do investigation. Because a lot of people have been asking, how do we monitor this? Because, and again, they said the data is gotten from the people at the lower apps that don't even have bank accounts, that the World Bank have some of this record that they are using. So it will be very, very difficult. Supposing if the money is going to somebody's account, it will be easy for you to just go there and get it. So, but it will be very, very difficult. So that it gives room for corruption, because the money might not get to the targeted population, and will still be where we are. And those that have been found culpable, they should be prosecuted. And the system needs to also be open for everybody to contribute. Like I said, as there are some quite civil society organizations that have been working with them, but it's not enough. It should be something that will be easy for people to report. Like look at the case of INEC, for example. From the time of Jega, he has been working with civil society, journalists and everything. You see, like now we're on the right track, because we can see somebody was prosecuted, the professor on University of Akwa Ibom. So he sends signal, but in the case of NISP, there's nothing like that.
Let me take you a little bit backward on solution approach, because we know Nigerians, we are known for lamenting. There is part of the promises made by the administration is to have people's entrepreneurs back, or how did they put it? Can't we initiate a process where these banks will be in every single ward, all over the country, creating job, and at the same time getting people who are not within the banking fold to be under that kind of a bank, and that bank will be linked, those banks rather, will not be linked to some of the commercial banks that we have. Can't we do that one, or what's the limitation of using that one to address?
So you want them to channel to some of these programs through the financial institution?
Yes, of course.
Of course. That will also create a lot of room for transparency and accountability, because taking it from the structure of the government. So it will also help, because banks also are in the field. They know who to give money, because everybody feel that if government money is a free money, yes, but it's coming from that aspect, it also help. It's a good idea. When you talk of fund budgeted for this SIP, like 2008, 500 billion was budgeted, but only 30% of the money was given to the for the SIP. So sometimes when government say they've budgeted, people thought maybe the money has been given to them. So I think one thing they should also do is this: maybe they should be on a straight line charge, because it will be because we are in an emergency. A straight line charge in the sense that the money will get to them completely, just like how National Assembly get their money, how INEC get their money, and the rest. So it will also help, because if you look at some of the work they've done, it's a gradual process. There are some states that they've not gone, or there are some states they've started, they are enjoying more than others. And so there are some local governments in the state again. Maybe you go to Plateau State, for example, they've gone to maybe like 15 local government. In that local government, they'll go to 30 communities. So it doesn't cover everything. That's why we are not getting the kind of effect we're supposed to get.
Okay. So I think unemployment, that's the biggest one for
Yeah.
anybody. You have the unemployment numbers, running ahead of inflation as a standard. So the question is, what is happening with Empower? Because the promises as regarding unemployment generally has not been met. Empower, to be precisely, it has not been met. The figure they've given, the target they're setting out for, they've not gotten there. What's happening?
I think Empower to me, is a palliative measure. It's not supposed to be a palliative measure. It's supposed to be an investment. And again, if you look at the budgetary provision of the NIPS, the National Social Welfare, their budgets have not been fulfilled up to 40%. So to rejig it, I think they need to put it on a straight line charge. If they are budgeting $1 trillion, they should get that $1 trillion within the year, the budget year. So that will help us, because if that is not done, we are not going to achieve anything tangible. Giving hand that, personally, to me, it doesn't work. Because we have ABUs that are doing a lot look at ICTs and the rest, without government intervention, even getting funds from outside on the country. Worldwide, people are focusing on Nigeria in terms of ICT. So why is the government not looking in that way?
So within 30 seconds, if you have to maybe repackage the entire Empower, what will you be looking at?
Just the Empower we're talking about, just like I said, is a palliative measure. It should be investment, long-term investment on the people. There are a lot of investment that, even some states, if you go to Lagos, for example, they have a free trade zone. Nobody knows what's going there. India's people coming to Nigeria to look at some of these benefits and are taking advantage of it. But the people are not taking advantage because they don't have the information. So it should be investment-based, not palliative measure. Because it is right now, it's a palliative measure.
Okay. But I still want us to dwell a little bit on unemployment, basically, because a lot of people are looking for a job. And to some of us, it might look like palliative. But to some, community who need teachers, but they cannot afford it because some local governments are broke, but who get the privilege of say, okay, we get empowers, because in some local government, being paid 30,000 could be a whole lot of money, and you get opportunity to teach. Might be a short time this year, so we can have conversation about the sustainability. But for now, the government has said that it's doing it, and it keeps on, voting money for this particular project, but it's not meeting its target. So I would like us, is there a problem currently why the government has not been able to get other people on board? They promised 1 million plus, and right now we are stuck to about 500,000. What exactly is the problem?
Just like, I think, first of all, budgeting, it has to be straight line charge. So that if they say 1 trillion, then they will get 1 trillion that year. Okay. Not going back to the ministry, writing proposal, all those things, you slow down the process. And again, it has to be investment based. Even as a teacher, teaching has gone digital. Look at why people were at home during the distance. So what did the government actually do that time? Nothing. You understand what I'm saying? So if you look at every sector, there are opportunity, but we are not taking good advantage of it, in the sense that we are not looking at the long-term solution to the problem. Because if you say Empower, I should teach for 1 or 2 years, and after that, I go and sit down, or maybe I don't even like to teach, and say I should go and teach, I just want to get the 30,000 naira, because people are driven to that 30,000 naira, which somebody in, how do they call it, in Lagos, that somebody in ICT, for example, get maybe within 1 hour. Even people that even teach online, they are making more than that.
Let's go to the most controversial one, which is GAPP, where you have the market money, trader money,
farmer
money, conditional cash transfer. Sorry. So there has been a lot of controversy surrounding it, particularly before the last election, where the vice president, was going around markets, encouraging people sharing. How sustainable is it?
It's not sustainable. It's a handout.
Oh, please. But there was conversation around If you repay back, you get given higher.
That's where we have the problem, because when you give somebody money, cash, hand to hand, it's very difficult for other people to do follow-up or transparency and accountability. That's where the special advisor, Miriam, will actually complain about, because that process has been hijacked by politicians.
But it's so not for her to complain. It's for she coordinated.
She coordinated. She got some reports, sent her people to the field. They have a point person in each of the state and local government. So she got some complaint from them, and people that are responsible for those things have not been prosecuted. That's where the gamut of the corruption is.
Okay, but let me, as a novice, ask this. As at the point when it was in the vice president's office, some of this program, you have Miriam Weiss and the rest coordinating. So it's a federal government program. So if at the state level, some persons or whatever are sabotaging it or stealing the funds, is it not the job of the federal government to prosecute or change the entire process? It just looks like the continuity of passing some of the blames around either the past administration or someone else.
No, I think if you look at her statement, it looks like somebody that is frustrated because she does not have that prosecuting power.
Yes, she has the power of resigning.
She has the power of resigning. I think resigning is not the solution, as per se. The EFCC, the ICPC, the police should investigate and prosecute those that are corporates. Because some people are using it for political capital. They'll write name. These are something in the public domain. So that's where the government is not enforcing the law. Okay. Because the program, is a fantastic program. You understand?
We agree on the fact that the program, the concepts behind it and every other thing, fantastic. But in your own assessment, if I say 1 to 100, how will you rate the program so far? Not in the concepts, but in the current implementation.
Execution, I think, let me just say, I think it's below average. Let me just say 35.
Below average. So, in a quick summary, in my own view, some of the things that you feel, what are the key points that we need to address for us to get probably below, above?
First of all, the budget should be straight line charge.
1. Then
prosecution.
2.
And it should not be a palliative. It should be an investment. Like, how do they call the former thing by President Goodluck Jonathan? You win. Yes. You win. So that if you have an investment, invest in the youth, set up his own organization or his business after he start paying back to the government. If you look at Lagos State, for example, that's what they are doing. They don't joke with pay as tax.
Yes.
Because they are growing, because some of these things, most people are coming there, they are paying more. They are even congratulating them. You look at when Fruta will just get that money, they congratulate because they are going to get more money. So that's what the government should do.
All right, Mr. Sunday, thank you so much for your time. It is our commitment as youth, to ensure that some of these things, work, whichever way it may be. So, from ManifesTalk, we'd like to say thank you so much, and we hope to get you some other time to talk about some of these critical national issues.
Thank you for having me.
This is ManifesTalk on Manifest TV. Keep tracking with us as we track with you.